Welcome back to The Fight. I'm Alex Wilcox. We are joined now by Dr. David Gaus, a 1984 graduate of the university who works with Father Hesburgh to establish Andean health and development in Ecuador. Dr. Gaus, welcome to The Fight.
Thanks very much, Alex. Happy to be here.
Well, now, Dr. Gaus, tell us a little bit about your journey from Notre Dame to Ecuador and what role Father Hesburgh played in that journey.
Alex, it's a great story. It's a great Father Hesburgh story, actually. It started when I was an accounting major in undergrad at Notre Dame, decided I didn't want to go into accounting, kind of went through my midlife crisis at the ripe young age of 21, went to visit Father Ted and wanted to do volunteer work in Ecuador and asked Father Ted if he could help me out. That didn't really bear a lot of fruit initially, but it opened up a friendship and a relationship with him that would continue while I was in Ecuador for the next 2 years working in a family development project. And while I was there, I decided I wanted to go into medicine. Wrote Father Ted a very long letter explaining that, and he said, come back to Notre Dame, do your post-baccalaureate pre-med classes here, and we'll take it from there. And did that, and then when it came time to go to medical school, he recruited the help of Ann Landers to not only pay for my post-baccalaureate pre-med at Notre Dame, but also find someone to help pay for medical school. So Ann Landers was able to arrange a scholarship through Bristol Myers Squibb so I could go to Tulane Medical School so I could get back to Ecuador as soon as possible. That was the school I wanted to go to because it had tropical medicine that you could do in addition to medicine. So long story short, all that happened in about 11 years after I started the journey. I ended up back in Ecuador, started our foundation. Father Ted was the chair of our board. And we spent the next 20 years building hospitals and clinics in rural Ecuador.
Wow, I love hearing Father Hesburgh stories, and that's a great one for sure. Now, listen, we've seen just how devastating COVID-19 has been all around the world. Can you give us a brief overview of just how COVID-19 has impacted Ecuador?
Yeah, Alex, for those of you that read the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times, there have been articles in both of those papers over the last week or two that really bring to light the problems that we faced in our biggest city on the coast called Guayaquil, which is arguably the epicenter of COVID in all of South America. No one knows exactly how it started. There were some theories, but in short order, the city of 3 million people with lots of shanty towns and difficult living situations was in the throes of rapidly transmitting coronavirus throughout the city. Poor testing abilities, very limited healthcare infrastructure, saturated the system immediately, and literally there were hundreds of bodies that were being removed each night by the police department just to take bodies off of the streets. Family members couldn't find funeral homes because most of them were closed out of fear of infecting their workers. And so it was this perfect storm of poor healthcare infrastructure, of no funeral services, and a virus that was raging through the city that resulted in probably 10,000 deaths, we calculate, during the month of April. So that is where it really started significantly in Ecuador. And since then, it's begun to push its way peripherally out of Guayaquil into the rest of the country. And fortunately for provincial roadblocks and some of the lockdown things that Ecuador has done since then, it's been contained a little bit better. We live in our 2 hospitals and clinics are in the countryside. One of them is a very remote rural area. The other one is in a town of several 100,000 people, but it's still largely a rural area. And we have not been hit super hard yet. We're collaborating with the Ministry of Health and the Social Security system to take care of any patients that they send our way. We've got triage tents set up outside, and we're triaging all these patients, and most of them end up going home, but some of them need admission, some of them need to be transferred to the capital. So we're doing what we can, and we're also supplying food for families that are unable to acquire food now, and we're doing teleconference consults for our patients that are chronic disease patients that still need help.
Dr. Gaus, thank you so much for joining us, and of course for all you're doing to fight COVID-19 down there in Ecuador.
Thanks, Alex.